Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the NORD Block Podcast, episode number 31. It is Monday, December 9th, 2024. I am NORD, joined with Block. Block, how we doing?
We're doing good. We got a hell of an episode today for y'all.
We have chaos. This might have been... We recorded our last episode, I think, last Monday, too.
Yeah.
It has been, by far, the craziest week I think we've ever seen in the history of this podcast. Now, granted, this podcast has been around for almost a year. But, again, it's probably been the craziest week we've ever seen. So we're going to start off with the Jacob Trouba trade itself. So, the New York Rangers have traded Jacob Trouba to the Anaheim Ducks. No salary retention. And the Anaheim Ducks sent to the Rangers Urho Vakanainen, a conditional 2025 fourth-round pick. And that conditions on that pick is that the Rangers get the lower of the Anaheim or the Detroit pick that the Rangers have, or the Ducks have. So, kind of a deal. It didn't really come out of nowhere. We knew there was going to be changes with the Rangers because of what we saw in that little stretch where they were losing a lot of games. And one of the biggest factors was Trouba. The fans really turned on him. The team really turned on him. And from what Trouba said in the media about how, the Rangers basically kind of forced him out of New York. Either you get traded to this team or you get put on waivers. It's pretty much what they said. If we're talking about the trade as a whole, though, I think New York wins this deal. They get back like $7 million in cap space, which they used to sign Igor Shesterkin. We'll get into that in a second. But LeBlanc, what are your overall thoughts on this Trouba deal?
What are the Anaheim Ducks doing? Like, I look at this as a deal where it's like, you know how we have the teams, you look at, example, Josh Bailey, for example. The Islanders traded him to the Blackhawks for a second-round pick. They had to attach a second-round pick to Bailey to get rid of him.
Yeah.
So, the Ducks had an opportunity to get something with Trouba. But instead, Verbeek, which Verbeek's a wild card GM. We've said this in the past on this podcast. But
yeah.
You get Trouba for how many years he has left? He has 3 years, 4 years.
He only has 2, I believe. It's not that long.
Yeah. So, to not have New York retain for New York, that's great. For Anaheim, you're in a rebuilding mode, and you don't have big contracts to sign just yet. So it's not a huge but still, I think they should have got something with Trouba.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a head scratcher, to be honest. You would think that maybe another asset would go to Anaheim, but I guess because Anaheim's rebuilding, they need to get above the cap floor. I don't know, but they already were anyways. It really doesn't make a lot of sense from Anaheim's perspective, besides the fact you want to put Trouba and Radko Gudas on the same pairing and watch them get suspended within one game.
Yeah.
But overall, though, if we're going to the Rangers and they get a good third pairing defender in Vakanainen. He may not even be a third pairing guy. He might be a seventh defender, to be honest with you. But that's his ceiling, I would say. And then a fourth round pick, which is a fourth round pick. You can move that to get a third pairing defenseman. Mm-hmm. So honestly, I think that, again, the Rangers win this deal by a mile. But maybe Trouba somehow goes to Anaheim and becomes
Winnipeg great. Trouba. I do want to say, I'll get into that, my thoughts on it later. But have you ever seen a team so frequently dump their captain off?
Yeah, the Rangers. I saw that. I saw what you're talking about. They've traded their last 3 captains, I think, and it's they don't like to treat their captains well in New York. It seems like, especially the Rangers.
I think Trouba even said it is it's like a tradition to get fired from MSG.
It is a tradition for the captains. I also want to talk about while we're here. I know you want to talk about Brady Tkachuk and all of that, but I do want to bring up Igor Shesterkin's contract, 8 years, $11.5 million. It was signed literally hours after the Trouba trade. The top comment on this post that I'm reading it off of says, legitimately might be the best day in Rangers history. They trade away their captain who they've been complaining about, and they lock up their goalie who rejected a $1 million offer a couple months ago and said that he wouldn't sign mid-season. So overall, LeBlanc, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, you take that money and you put it to good use. Shesterkin is the best goalie in the NHL. You lock him up long term. I think that's good for everybody involved.
So you see, there were some people who I saw commenting about that giving a goalie this much money is insane. Do you agree with that?
It's 11.5. It's the biggest goalie contract in NHL history. So it's a risk, but I think he's worth the risk.
I don't even really think it's a risk. We know what we're getting here with Shesterkin, but I see why people are like, "Oh, this is insane." But guys, the salary cap is rising.
It
Like
is rising. So
goalies are not going to stay at $8 million. We're going to
yeah,
get to that point where there are going to be goalies that are going to get paid $10 million, and more common than just like I think Shesterkin and Bob are the only two goalies that are
over
paying max.
over 10. Other than I think Price was 9.5.
No, Price was I think Price was above 10 because I remember Price was more than Bob.
Maybe it was 10. Yeah, maybe I'm just making up my numbers.
Yeah, but again, good deal there for the Rangers. All right, the other thing that broke today, and well, it didn't really break. Well, part of it broke today. The other thing that LeBlanc really wanted to talk about was when this all was going down with Jacob Trouba. We basically got like the announcement on this rumor at like 10 a.m. At not even 10 a.m., like maybe like 8 or 9 in the morning Eastern time, talking about how, oh, they were going to trade Trouba today. They were either going to trade him, they were going to place him on waivers, but he's done in New York. That was basically the rumor that we heard. And we heard a lot of teams, over the course of those next couple of hours where he finally was traded around, I think, 2:30 Eastern time. But one of the things that we heard per, I think, Larry Brooks was Brady Tkachuk. Apparently, he was being heavily shopped at by the Rangers were like really aggressively trying to get him, and he wrote out a whole article for the New York Post. He even said in that article that like this return might be like Lafreniere and this and that, and then few hours, not even like a few hours, like an hour or two goes by, and then Bruce Garrioch, Ian Mendez, a lot of the Sens media outlets come out and just fight this like hell and say there's nothing to this. This isn't true. There's nothing here. It's not it's false. And even I think Garrioch said that Tkachuk is not going to New York or anywhere for that matter. And then today, Michael Andlauer apparently accused the Rangers of light tampering. So, LeBlanc, do you want to explain what light tampering
So
is? And
explain it as soft tampering, and I'm going to explain this very well. It's not people like, oh, he's mad that someone's name's on the media. Here's the thing, that's normal. Like we hear about guys like being shocked and being all this like constantly. Like we hear rumors, some are fake, some are true. It happens. It's not like a big deal. What we're talking about here is that the accusation is that Chris Drury told Larry Brooks to put that out into the media to put pressure on Brady Tkachuk, get his attention, and get Ottawa's attention into the media. And I'm going to read you a quote from Andlauer. And Andlauer, a quote, according to Darren Dreger of Pierre LeBrun, who they sat down with today, quote, very, very pissed off.
I would be too.
Yes.
You're saying that, like your GM's trying to, or the Rangers GM is basically trying to just stir things up in the media. Honestly, that's something that is completely false.
Yeah. So here's a quote from Michael Andlauer today. Here's my frustration. I talk about how I care for these players. I care for their families. You make a commitment to a team for 6, 7, even 8 years. You set roots in those communities. You're a part of the community, and it's a lot of pressure on these young men. Speaking about Tkachuk, yes, people might say they make millions of dollars, but in reality, there comes responsibility with that. And when I see our captain in in the 1 year I've been here as Senators owner, there's been 3 separate occasions where there's been fires and I had to put them out myself. I can tell you 100% there has never actually been an ounce of discussion about Brady Tkachuk being anything other than an Ottawa Senator.
Yeah. There's nothing there. Listen. I'm gonna say this. My initial takeaway when we heard these rumors about Brady Tkachuk was that maybe the Rangers messaged Ottawa and said, "Hey, is Tkachuk available?" Because that happens a lot.
Happens a lot, yeah.
There's probably a ton of players, like even some of the best players who you may not think are like untouchable, who teams have called and maybe sent an offer to. And I think this is one of those instances where the GM of the player that the other team wants to trade for told them to F off. That's what I took away from this.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like maybe it's something different and maybe it's more than that. It's a really strange situation. I don't know if anything's going to come of this.
I'll say this. It's either Michael Andlauer's comments, either we're losing another first round pick, Or,
God.
but I want to say, like, Chris Drury, I don't mean to dig on someone for doing their job. Chris Drury, as GM of the New York Rangers, you look at the stuff he's done, he's a little shady with his work. You look at the Barkey Goudreau situation, you look at now the Jacob Trouba situation. Like, it's like,
He's ruthless.
I mean, it's aggressive, and like it's something like we haven't really seen in a long time. It's aggressive and it's working right now for them. But
It's yeah.
it's a shady way to do business and a shady way to treat people. And I think like players around the league see what the Rangers are treating their players, and it's New York City. You're still gonna get players, but like you see that and you kind of think, do I really want to go play in New York City?
Yeah. I kind of buy into that. I kind of don't buy into that. I think that again, as you said, still New York. Players are going to go to play there, but again, it may attract some players away from it, seeing how they're treating their players. But again, I do understand it on a level. It's a business. It's a team that um, wants to win very badly, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to maybe move on from players who aren't as useful, like players like Trouba, players like Goudreau, and move them in for other players who may be more useful. So it's ruthless, but I do understand it on a level because that's kind of what the league has turned into. This
Yeah.
isn't the first time we're seeing of this either.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually a lot of talk of, I've seen this a lot on TikTok, I've seen this a lot on social media, of people calling for possible changes to how contracts are made, like with no trade clauses and things like that. Like, if you don't want to go to a team, you don't go there, you can't go there at all, no matter whether it's through trade or waivers. It's kind of what I've heard in the media recently.
Well, when I was growing up, a no move clause meant you couldn't get waived, but now that's changed from the CBA that
No.
came in.
Wait, really? I
Appar-
thought no
Apparently,
trade clauses you can move. No
yeah,
move clauses
no
you can't.
trade, no trade clauses. You can't trade them without their consent. No move clause, you can't get waived. But I think it's different now.
Huh.
'Cause
Okay.
most players who have no move clauses, and when they say, "Hey, we're going to send you down," they usually accept it.
Typically,
Yeah,
yeah.
I know. I was going to say this about the auto centers. When you're in a small market like Ottawa, like Winnipeg, it is really hard to get players to stay. It's really hard to
Yeah.
get players to establish roots. So when you see another team, especially a big market team, throwing names out there, throwing names and dirt out there, I don't think you're going to take it very well. And I feel like Michael Anlauer did what he did for his team. Honestly, he kind of he called it out as it is for the Rangers. He called it out as it is. The Rangers responded. I think they said, "Oh, this is irresponsible. We'll take it up with the league." Um,
Yeah.
and like it's really hard for these small markets to survive. And I applaud Anlar for handling it as he is. I like when people just call it out as they see it, as Anlar does. Anlar kind of reminds me of kind of like the a very avid fan of the team. He's like a very avid fan, but he also I don't mean to get political here, but he reminds me of Trump. How he just calls it out as he sees it.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, honestly. Also, I wanted to bring up one thing with you too. This isn't really related to what we're talking about. Did you see the one Senators line, like reunite? I thought that was
Yes, I was actually at that game.
yeah,
Uh,
that was last Friday. Alfredson, Heatley, and who else?
Spezza.
Spezza. Yeah, so again, pretty. That was something that would never happen under Melnick, from
No,
what I heard.
no, Melnick and Heatley had a really bad falling out when Heatley requested a trade. So he
Yeah,
even said it in his interview. They had a whole interview, all three of them, and he said basically, it's like, when have you ever been invited back? Like, well, I've not until recently because of reasons, and we know what that means. We know that's alluding to Melnick.
yeah,
But like, it's good to see Andlauer's done so much good for the franchise, and like, first of all, I think Melnick would have called the Rangers too because that's who Melnick was. But like, I feel like Andlauer's done good in the community. He's done good on the ice. He wants to see it all come to fruition, and he's not going to let a big organization like New York Rangers just kick it, just froze me on and kick him around. And I want to say this for Larry Brooks. Larry Brooks, he's a Hall of Fame, writer, Hall of Fame, everything. But like recently, it's all clickbait. I don't mean to call out a man's work, but it's all clickbait. Everything the past 5 years Brooks has put out has usually been misleading.
sure seems like it. Yeah, I agree with you. All right, are we ready to move on?
We are ready to move on.
Okay, we have a lot of trade. Actually, we only have like one other trade to cover. We're gonna roll into what happened today between the Colorado Avalanche and the San Jose Sharks. So we saw last episode, we talked about the Scott Wedgwood deal where Justice Onnnnn was moved over to Nashville for Scott Wedgwood. We talked about that. We said that might not be a permanent solution. LeBlanc, I even listened to the podcast yesterday. He was a little bit confused on why this move even happened. But today we saw another goalie swap involving Mackenzie Blackwood and Alex Georgiev. So the Colorado Avalanche have acquired goalie Mackenzie Blackwood, forward Giovanni Smith, a 2027 fifth-round pick, and in exchange, the Sharks acquired forward Nikolai Kovalenko, goaltender Alex Georgiev, who is retained by 14% by Colorado, a 2026 second, and a 2025 fifth-round pick. LeBlanc, when you saw this deal, what were your thoughts?
Sharks 8. Like Mike Greer cooked here. I want to let you know before the season, Nikolai Kovalenko is one of like the Avalanche's like top guys coming out of Russia right now.
Probably
He was expected to be a big piece in their bottom six. He's going to go to San Jose. He's going to have a really big role there. I am a really big fan of Nikolai Kovalenko. I'm actually very surprised they gave up Nikolai Kovalenko in this deal. But then I saw they sent Georgiev back, so that's probably to counteract that.
Yeah. Well, Georgiev is certainly in the NHL. That's about all you can say about him right now. Kovalenko this season has 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. Again, he in the KHL the year before that, if you give me a second, I can tell you. He had 35 points with Torpedo last year in the KHL, which for somebody who's kind of young like him, I think those are pretty good numbers. He even came over last year and played in the playoffs for Colorado and was actually pretty exciting. I think he even scored a goal. So, again, like Kovalenko, really talented forward, could be a part of the Sharks' future here for sure. Georgiev is on the last year of his deal. Like, I mean, after this year, you can just let him go.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he could help the Sharks get first overall. How about it? And then you get that second and that fifth, just some good draft capital. But I still think that, like, yeah, San Jose did do a good job. I think Colorado, like, also won this deal, too. They get a goalie who has been pretty good on a pretty bad team.
Yeah.
He had a .899 last year on one of the worst teams we've seen. And then so far through 19 games this year is a .911. Smith, more or less just a depth player. There's nothing really there. And then a 2027 fifth. I think that both teams make out pretty good in this deal, and I like it.
I am very surprised though that that San Jose didn't wait out till the deadline.
Yeah, that was what I was surprised about too. Like I took a nap today, to be blunt, and I woke up and saw the tweet from Friedman, and I was like, why are they doing this now? Like I feel like you could have gotten more value for him at the deadline. Like, I feel like you could have gotten it first.
Yeah, so I was at work and then I was going on my break and I saw it breaking and I'm like, wow. So I'm like this means either the Avalanche really overpaid or San Jose really just want to get rid of Blackwood. And it turns out, I still think San Jose got a really good haul here. I think San Jose wins the deal in the long run because I like I said, for me, big fan of Kovalenko, but Avalanche get upgrade now. And if you told me how many games have been in the season? Like 25 games into the season?
I believe for the Avalanche they are about 30.
All right,
30 games.
30 games in, you're gonna screw it. Let's swap out both goalies.
Yeah. So their new tandem now. Let's talk about this a little bit. They have Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood. How do you feel about that? Is that better than Georgiev Onnnnn?
I mean, Georgiev was streaky. Like last year, he was streaky. He had some very bad stretches, but he also had some very good stretches. So
this year he's been playing bad.
He's been bad though this year. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. He's been hot dog booty cheek. So, but Blackwood has been fantastic on a very bad Sharks team. So you hope he maintains that level of play going over to Colorado. For Georgiev, it's a new start. What you saw when he got traded from New York to Colorado, he had a pretty good year his first year in Colorado.
Yeah. Wedgwood, since coming to Colorado, is 2-1, has a 1.44 and a .951. He has already a shutout this season with the Avalanche as well. So he has been great in the few games he's played. Yeah. Also want to mention they came back from down 4-0 against Buffalo.
Yeah. It is Buffalo, though. It is Buffalo. I do want to mention also for San Jose, Yaroslav Askarov season might be coming very soon.
Yeah, right now, currently, they got Vanacek and Georgiev up there. I think you could probably move Vanacek. Let me look at his numbers here real quick. You may not be able to get a ton in return for him, but again, I think that they have Georgiev for this coming season. Vanacek's probably your other goalie, unless they want to waive Georgiev, which I wouldn't put past Greer. And then you bring Askarov up. So we're coming up on that very, very soon. That's going to happen probably within the next few months here is when we're going to see that happen. All right, let's move on from the the Blackwood deal, on to Chicago. Luke Richardson has been fired by the Blackhawks. Anders Sorensen has been named the interim head coach. Richardson was fired after going 8-16-3 for the first couple of games here with the Blackhawks. LeBlanc, when this firing happened, how did you feel?
I mean, I texted you when it happened, but it was.
Yeah, that's true.
I was very confused at the time until I did my digging. I'm biased here. Luke Richardson was a very important figure in Sens history. He's a very important assistant coach for the Ottawa Senators for a very long time. So obviously, I have a liking to him. So I didn't really understand the move because he was praised for his work with young players. So, but you see Bedard struggling. You see the lineups getting switched every night. You saw they couldn't like get anything going. You couldn't get any chemistry going. You got guys like Bertuzzi on like the fourth and third line some nights. Like, I get why they did it. Do I agree with it? I mean, if you think it's gonna help you in the long run, go for it. I'm not there to judge the Blackhawks, but I feel like Richardson probably should have gotten more leash.
He's been there since 2022. I'm gonna say this though, like when you look in terms of the season by season, they're losing more and more. Like last year, they lost more games than they lost the year before when they got first overall. This year, they're on pace. They were on pace to lose more games. So I think overall, like they needed to make a change. There were a lot of Blackhawks fans and people in the staff that were calling for this. Sorensen is the coach for Rockford. He's been spoken highly by the players. And I also heard a rumor today that Frank Nazar may be getting the call up.
Good. I think Nazar should have made the team, in my opinion.
Yeah, so it looks like, well, Joey Anderson was placed on waivers yesterday. He's cleared today. And it seems like we may see Nazar get called up within the week. Maybe when this podcast drops, you're going to see it. But I think it's not Richardson's fault. But one thing that the Nordcast, me and Carter pointed out, was that the Blackhawks have like no youth in their lineup. They have no youth. That's not on Richardson entirely, but it's still not ideal. Like we looked at how many players they have under 26 on their team. They have four. Yeah, three offense. That's Reichel, Kurashev, Bedard, and then Vlasic on the back end.
Well, Korchinski's
in the A.
Oh, he's in the A. You're right. Yeah.
The American Hockey League.
Wait, here's the thing. Chicago, I do want to say this. Like, if you look at this team and tell me you thought they were going to be a contender this year, like not contender, but like take a step forward, I probably disagree there. Because if you're Chicago, you're trying to, I'm not saying you're trying to lose, but you're trying to like not be a playoff team yet. So firing Richardson, I think I could have waited till the end of the year. But like I get Sorensen's really good with the young guys. I've been told that. So also I'm pretty sure he's like one of the first Swedish coaches to coach in the NHL now.
He is I think he's on. I saw a stat saying he's like the second European coach to ever coach in the NHL, which is actually kind of I was like, wow, like there really hasn't been that many. So I thought that was pretty surprising. But yeah, again, it still is a little confusing. I agree with you, but we'll see where it goes from here. Again, like Sorensen could completely turn this team around, and maybe they start winning some more games. But overall, I think that there may be a lot of pressure from the Wirtz family on Davidson to make this team better quicker because of somebody who's on the team.
Yeah, and I understand that, and at the same time, Chicago also, like, you look at their, like, you want to talk about their, like, pool of prospects. It's good. It's not elite, though, by any means.
Yeah, it's when you look in terms of like other teams in the league, like San Jose's pool, I'm just gonna say it's elite. Honestly,
it's honestly it might be one of the best pools in the league.
Yeah, you look at Montreal's, it's one of the best in the league.
Detroit,
Anaheim's even like is still pretty good.
Anaheim, Detroit, I'd say Minnesota's got the edge on them too.
Yeah, Minnesota. Yeah, like those are teams that have really good pools who are down there, like in the standings with them. Chicago just doesn't seem to have that. And again, you're in like year 2 of the rebuild, but it sucks that with the picks from like the DeBrincat deal and other trades like that, they haven't hit yet. So that's another
Yeah,
factor that makes you a little bit like
yeah,
I don't know.
and
Like
I
he hasn't hit. Nazer is still taking time. Sam Rinzel, who was a pick later on in 2022, not even in the NHL yet, not even signed. And
mhm.
then
Oliver
Bedard,
Oliver Moore.
yeah. Again, it's early. Not everyone's there yet. Like you can make that example for like Detroit. Like half of their prospects aren't in the NHL yet.
Yeah, but
But
they've been building for over 5 years now.
yeah, but
Like Chicago's we're on year 2 of the rebuild. You got Bedard. That was the best thing to happen right now. But there's still so much time to go. I want to put this into perspective. You look at Ottawa when they got Tkachuk. That was the first year. That was like year 0 of the rebuild.
yeah, essentially,
Mm.
yeah, it was year 0. But yeah, again, we're gonna see where that goes from there in Chicago. Any other news that you wanted to talk about before we get into Four Nations? I do have one more thing that I did want to bring up.
Go ahead.
I forgot to mention it to you before we started, but there was talks about so Kevin Adams of the Sabres came out and spoke to the
Yes.
media, and he was kind of talking and talking and talking. I guess he got asked a question, and he said that Buffalo is not a destination city. How are you feeling about that?
Well, I was always told it was the Cancun of the North, but like I actually watched majority of Kevin Adams' big yap session. Um,
God, here
ba-
we go.
basically, it's just him complaining the whole time about how his job's so hard. Like, I want to put this in this perspective: who has a harder job, Kevin Adams or Kevin Cheveldayoff of the Winnipeg Jets?
Uh, Kevin Adams,
You
Kevin
think Kevin Adams?
Shovel Day off. I mean,
I would say Cheveldayoff because, like, first of all, I love
I'm not Shovel Day off.
I love I love Manitoba, but like Winnipeg's what like you're talking about being not a destination city. Winnipeg's not like everyone's first choice to go to. Buffalo can at least get players. Like you look, I'm gonna put an example to the NFL. Players come to play for the Bills.
Yeah, like saying I don't think they're a destination city. They're not a destination franchise.
They're not.
City, like you got so many players coming to play for Buffalo and the
Mm,
Bills, who are owned by the same family, by the way.
yeah,
So again, I think this is something that Kevin Adams says to kind of cover his job, cover his ass. He's been at this for I think almost 4.5 years now with the Sabres. I think it's about time where we're probably going to see him get fired. I think we even said that.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought when he was yapping, he was gonna resign. I thought he was honestly because he's just guy. Oh, my job's so hard. We can't get players. Not understand. I'm like, so are you quitting or are you just gonna be on this yap session?
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like, what do you expect? You're gonna get sympathy from the family? Like, oh yeah, sorry,
Like
sorry, or like, I don't get it.
that's like the equivalent of like what's his name, the Montreal GM, Jeff, no, not Jeff Gordon,
Ken
Hughes.
Hughes.
That's like Hughes calling a presser and just putting on a puppet show. like
He's
no,
complaining because
in
players
English
can't
and French,
perform.
and then
Yeah,
also, yeah, you know what I mean, like I don't understand the need for the presser. I understand the need to address the media, but like to put it to swing it like the way he did, I don't think that was necessary.
yeah. It felt really weird to me. That was one of the things that I actually thought about when we were talking here. All right, let's move on from Buffalo. Let's talk about the Four Nations rosters because we did that last episode. And a shitload of stuff has happened since the Four Nations. Like that feels like the Four Nations feels like weeks ago
I know.
when those were released with all the news that has happened. So we're gonna go through each team. We may spend some time on it. We may go through it pretty quickly. I want to start out with Finland first because there is a player we want to talk about in here. Forward Sebastian Aho, Eric Halla, Anton Lundell, Joel Armia, Rupe Hint, Eetu Losterainen, Alex Barkov, Alexander Barkov, Capo Kakko, Mikko Rantanen, Mikhail Granlund, Patrick Laine, Teuvo Teravainen, and Arturi Lehkonen. That's your forward core. LeBlanc, any thoughts, any snubs, any players you want to talk about here?
I really thought Kakiyemi was going to get on this team. Like when we were making our rosters, I said I think he's going to make the team, and you kind of like disagreed with me, and you were right to
I
disagree
was
with
a little
me
hesitant. I was a little hesitant.
because like I didn't think Kako would make the team, and Kako's there.
It's a weak roster, though. Like I don't. I still think it's very weak, in my opinion.
This team's getting stomped. There's no question about it. Like this team is getting
I,
stomped.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say they're getting stomped. I think they have the players where they can at least win a game. They
Yeah,
won't do
cause
anything outside.
I'm looking at our rosters we had, and you said did Michelli make the team?
Shelley did not make the team.
Tolvanen,
Tolvanen did not make the team either.
Kakiyemi,
Kotkaniemi did not make the team.
and did you say Granlund?
Granlund is on the team.
Okay, then we're good. So the forward we got like 3 wrong. So
Yeah, I wouldn't say that's bad. I do want to give a shout out to Line. Line came back this past week, scored a goal.
scored
I
2
think
goals.
he has 2 goals actually. He has been great for Montreal. It's a great story. It is. With how he got hurt in the preseason, seeing how it's transpired, it's a terrific story, honestly. Defenseman Yanni Hakanpää, Esa Lindell, Rasmus Ristolainen, Miro Heiskanen, Olli Mata, Juuso Välimäki, and Nico Mikkola. Gonna tell you right now, we did not have Hakanpää on our roster.
We actually last minute put Yoki Haru in there. Remember?
Yeah, Yoki Haru was our. We didn't even think about Hakanpää though. Like,
I thought Hakanpää was on IR. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not gonna lie.
he has been. That's the thing. Like that's why I wasn't thinking about him.
Yeah,
But
I don't under.
I think that's the only guy we missed.
Yeah.
Everything else we got right.
Yeah, because our honorable mention was Vilja Heinola.
Yeah, so I can't believe we forgot Hakanpää. And then the goalies we got right. Lankinen, UPL, and then Saros. That was pretty obvious from the get-go. We got those right. Let's move on to Team Sweden. Forwards, Victor Arvidsson, Philip Forsberg, Gustav Nyquist, Jesper Bratt, William Karlsson, Elias Pettersson, Leo Carlsson, Adrian Kempe, Lucas Raymond, Joel Eriksson Ek, Elias Lindholm, Mika Zibanejad, and William Nylander. I can tell from right now the only 2 that we did not get right I know 2 for sure we didn't get right, are Arvidsson and Nyquist. I don't think we have either of those guys on our team.
Because we had Raquel.
Yeah.
We had Raquel Zetterlund.
That was a guy I was a little shocked that didn't make the team.
Yeah.
Eklund too. Eklund didn't make.
Eklund didn't make the team either, and they put both Lindholms there. I'm pretty sure.
No, Hampus is not on here. Elias is. Hampus is not. But yeah, I mean the forward core is still solid. It's not that bad. Arvidsson was a little bit of a confusing ad for me. I guess he's in there to kind of kill penalties. Like, seeing the way I can really see that.
Yeah, like I don't like. I can't really explain to you why he's not like he's there. Like
Yeah. That was a bit of a head scratcher for me. Defensemen Rasmus Andersson, Rasmus Dahlin, Victor Hedman, Jonas Brodin, Matthias Ekholm, Erik Karlsson, and Gustav Forsling. I think we got everything right except for Brodin.
Yeah, we didn't get Brodin. We had everybody. Lindholm. We had Lindholm on our roster. Yeah,
we had the wrong Lindholm. I don't think we had Lindholm on our.
We just had to swap Lindholms and we would have been money.
Yeah. And then the goalies was also very obvious.
Yeah.
Philip Gustafsson, Jacob Markstrom, Linus Ullmark. We got that right. We banged that out from the get-go. USA, Matt Boldy, Jack Hughes, Brock Nelson, Kyle Connor, Chris Kreider, Brady Tkachuk, Jack Eichel, Dylan Larkin, Matthew Tkachuk, Jake Gensel, Austin Matthews, Vincent Trocheck, and JT Miller. LeBlanc, I have a few thoughts for sure, but we definitely got a couple wrong here.
For sure, because I am counting that. Well, just counting as you go on. We got 9 out of 12 or 13.
Oh,
we got 9. Like, you're the American, so I'll let you take the wheels on this one.
So first off, I don't understand why Chris Kreider's here. Kreider's been atrocious this year, like defensively. He doesn't have a single assist. Pass the puck, dude. I don't know why he's on this team. Trocheck, I can get it if he's the 13th forward. I don't know why he's the 4th line. I don't understand. And then Nelson, I get. Nelson, I completely understand. Nelson's actually an under-the-radar pick. He has been very consistent on the Islanders. He's actually scored like 30, 35 goals the last 2 seasons with the team. He also has experience, a guy that we kind of forgot. Who were the guys that you have the roster pulled up?
I
Who
do.
were the guys that had in their place?
So we had
I'm missing with this
Thompson,
team too. Yeah, Thompson we had on there.
Thompson, Keller,
Keller,
and
okay.
Tuck.
All right, I can get Tuck being out of here for maybe someone like Nelson.
Yeah, and
I don't know.
I understand that. Like, I think both Canada and U.S. went for fit rather than best available players, and I think we're going to see that when because I have some thoughts on Team Canada that I will get to in a couple moments, but
Definitely. It's such a head scratcher that Thompson doesn't make this team. Like it's such a head scratcher.
I don't understand it. Thompson should be on that roster.
I get it. You want players who can kill off penalties and do this, but Thompson
Thompson
should be.
can kill off penalties though. Thompson,
Yeah, and I also saw complaints about Cole Caulfield. I understand that
I
at a
get it.
level, but I see with his role on this team would likely be a fourth liner. Like I don't really.
Caulfield isn't a fourth line player. You need Caulfield in your top six, or he's not going to produce as much.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of what I saw with that. Defensemen, Brock Faber, Noah Hannafin, Jacob Slavin, Adam Fox, Quinn Hughes, Zach Werenski, and Charlie McAvoy. I think the only thing we got wrong was Faber. Oh, what? How did we get 3 wrong?
Sorry. So I'm gonna just go through this now because you went too fast. So Fox, Hughes, McAvoy, Renski, we had Slavin, right?
Yes.
So we had 5.
Okay.
John Carlson make it?
Did who?
John Carlson.
John Carlson did not make
No,
it.
so we put in John Carlson and Jake Sanderson. It was replaced by Brock Faber and Noah Hannafin.
Yeah, I do want to bring this up. One of the no Capitals made this freaking team. Made any of these teams.
How? I don't.
at least one. Like, come on, really? Not even one. A single player.
I don't get it either. So
I don't understand, to be honest with you. And then the goalies: Connor Hellebuck, Jake Ottinger, Jeremy Swayman. If we weren't just trying to be clickbait, we would have had that right.
Yeah, we had Wolf in there. I mean, Wolf. I think Wolf played good enough to get in there, but he doesn't have the pedigree yet. So it's just
Yeah. All right. Now we move on to Team Canada. Sam Bennett, Seth Jarvis, Connor McDavid, Anthony Cirelli, Travis Konechny, Braden Point, Sidney Crosby, Nathan McKinnon, Sam Reinhart, Brandon Hagel, Brad Marchand, Mark Stone, and Mitch Marner is your forward core. I know we did not have Konechny in there. We got 10 of 14. We did not have Konechny. We did not have Cirelli. We did not have Bennett. And we did not have Jarvis?
No, we had Jarvis.
Who did we know? We didn't have.
There's 13, Evan. There's not 14.
Oh, I'm okay. So just those 3. My bad. LeBlanc, how do you feel? I'm taking the lead a lot.
Okay, there is I'll be honest, Doug Armstrong, take a hike. Like I don't want to be mean, but I'm sorry. In what world is Sam Bennett on this team?
Okay, I'm gonna actually defend Bennett here a little bit.
I get what he brings. I get what he brings, but I feel like there's just so many players that can fill that role better than Bennett can. I get what he brings. He could be a bottom 6 gritty guy, but I feel like there's other players who could have filled that better. And more Cirelli, I'm more in shock with that he made this team.
So I'm gonna say this about Sam Bennett.
Okay.
Bennett has been awesome this year with Florida. Has 26 points in 27 games played. Has 13 goals, 13 assists. He is a player who we know can be a bitch. Incredibly physical. It just kills off penalties. He hits. He's physical. I think he deserves to make this team. Cirelli, I get why you're upset about that. Because I think he kills. The only reason why he's there is to kill penalties.
I'm not gonna lie. Why? You know who I could have had instead of Cirelli, and you're gonna be shocked when I say who I'm gonna defend right now. Nick Suzuki.
Whoa!
I would rather have Nick Suzuki in that spot.
Yeah, I understand that. I understand that argument. How do you feel about Konechny being here?
I think for the bottom 6, he's gonna be good. So one guy I'm shocked to make the team is Dylan Strome.
Yeah, again, no Capitals. Strome was a big shocker. He's been like the Backstrom to Ovechkin this year.
Yeah, and I And I really thought Strome was going to be in Bennett's spot. That's why I'm butting heads there. But like, I think
Yeah.
I'm not saying Bennett's a bad player by any means. Like he made it, good for him. But I think Strome has just been he's been lights out.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a head scratcher with a few of these picks. I get it, but again, you could probably, again, no matter what Canada did, there was going to be snubs. So I completely,
I get
no
it.
matter what.
But like the defense,
Come on.
this is where like I fly off the handle. All right, let's go.
Kale McCarr, Colton Parayko, Shea Theodore, Josh Morrissey, Alex Petrangelo, Devon Tays, and Travis Sanheim. I think we got 4 of those right. Who
We
do
have 2 of them in in honorable mentions, and we did not have Parayko at all.
Yeah. Sanheim we put in there because I pressed LeBlanc like hell to get him in there. Sanheim, I think, should be in there. He's been great for the Flyers the last 2 years. He's really become a good top pairing defenseman, I'd say. I think you could make an argument for other guys being in there, but I'm a Flyers fan. I'm going to defend Sanheim.
Yeah. So, and here's where I tell Doug Armstrong to take a lap. So, you can't tell me Colton Parayko. Like, I would rather have Mackenzie Weegar here. I'd rather have Weegar here. I'd have Hamilton here. Parayko is, and I'm gonna put this very lightly. Once again, I'm not an NHL player. No, I'll never be good enough to be an NHL player. But Weegar is like 3 times the player that Parayko is.
Yeah. The only reason why he's on this team is because Armstrong was GM.
Yeah, if Armstrong wasn't the GM, he wouldn't be here.
100%. 110%. God bless you.
Thank you.
I don't understand. Like it's really a head scratcher to me. I get Parayko may be underrated defenseman, but the only reason why he's here because Armstrong was the GM.
Another shock. I'm shocked Bouchard didn't make this team.
That was another one that people really flipped out about. I get why though.
I understand, but like you put him with Morrissey, and that's a good pairing right there.
I'm gonna be honest with you though, like if Bouchard isn't on that top power play, he's kind of useless. Like I hate to say that.
Yeah, but you can put him on top power play too.
Yeah, but still, like I still don't. Are you gonna take Morrissey off of there and put Bouchard there?
No.
So then,
yeah. So like I get what they're going with, but like I'm kind of like Bouchard. Like you saw Bouchard in the playoffs. You saw Bouchard's a good defenseman, and I feel like he deserved to have even the 7th D, a spot.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like they wanted to go with more well-rounded defenders. Bouchard seemingly is a offensive defenseman.
He is, and like, here's what it is. Like, I'm not like that's like Bouchard being off. I'm not like really like pissed off about. It's Parayko that we went over that I don't get that. And then
that really is a head scratcher. The goalies: Jordan Bennington, Aiden Hill, Sam Montembault. Hill we hit. That's the only one we got.
No, we hit Bennington. That's it.
Oh, we hit Bennington? Oh, crap. Yeah, so Bennington, yeah, that's the only one we really hit. Hill, I get.
Yeah, Hill, I get. We had him in honorable mention, but like here's where I fly out the handle. How on God's green earth is Logan Thompson on this team?
Logan Thompson not on this team.
I don't get it. Like, I'm sorry, Sam Montembeault had like 2 good games the whole year.
Do you want to know the reason why Montembeault's here?
He's a Canadian goalie. Because
there are
playing
games being played in Montreal.
Yes, and I get that.
He's not going to see any time. He's going to be the 3rd string.
Yeah.
But there's games being played in Montreal that have a Canadian.
Team Canada, like for any competition, they're always political about everything. Like Nick Suzuki didn't make this team because allegedly he rejected them to go to the World Championships last year. Which
I saw that as well.
Like,
yeah,
that's such a stupid reason. Like,
yeah,
I don't like Hockey Canada. Like, you make some of the most dumbest decisions. Like, I don't. It is what it is. Like, I'm just gonna put over the World Juniors. Like, you look at World Juniors now. They've invited now Perrick and Seneca when they should have made the team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like a lot of head scratchers on this team. This is probably the team that got criticized the most out of all of them.
Oh, 100%. Well, we knew that was going to happen,
Yeah,
no matter who they put on this team.
yeah,
But again, just real head scratchers here.
yeah.
For sure.
I think Canada may have picked their way out of a first place finish, and
We'll see.
we'll see.
It's only a 4-game tournament, which is pretty weird.
Yeah, it's early. Like, and I don't say it's early, but like it's we're getting to like the reactionary stage when we get to see games being played. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, definitely in February for sure. Okay, LeBlanc, we did news. Did we get through everything we wanted to get through here?
I believe so. Except
Let me just check real quick if there's anything else that's worth bringing up. Nope, I think we're pretty much rolled through everything. Talked about Kevin Adams, talked about the trades. I think we're good. All right, are you ready to do our November tier list?
I am.
Okay, so we didn't do this in November, which is just such a NORD block thing. We never do this when we're supposed to do it. So we have the tiers pulled up here. For the audio listeners, we'll just list them out. For the video listeners, you guys can just see them pretty clearly. So you have cup contenders, playoff locks, playoffs likely, wild card race, playoffs unlikely, and James Hagan's season. We got all 32 teams here, all in alphabetical order. Let's roll right into it, starting off with the Anaheim Ducks. LeBlanc, how are we feeling about Anaheim?
I'm feeling it's James Hagan season.
Really?
Wait,
They're not that bad.
let me just double check my the standings real quick before I just start throwing. I mean, yeah, I'd still go James Hagan season. They're still bottom.
Actually, yeah, they've lost.
They're still bottom 5 in the league. So
okay, I'll get behind that.
like I feel
really good.
Dostal's looked fantastic. I honestly think get Gibson out of there. Make Dostal the starter. Like
he has been primarily. They have Dostal as the starter right now in the game versus Montreal that's currently going on. So yeah, Anaheim and James Hagan's. What about Boston?
I think Boston is playoffs likely. I don't want to say they're a lock just yet. Of course, they have the new coach boost.
Yeah, I was about to say the Joe Sacco boost is
so
really happening.
I'm not ready to put them in locks yet, but playoffs likely. I'm fair. I think that's fair.
They have won their last, I think, 4. Or they're 6-2 in their last 8 under Sacco. So
yeah,
it really has seemed to improved under him for sure. The Buffalo Sabres.
I'm gonna go playoffs unlikely.
Okay, they're 26th in the league, probably.
You could argue they could be at the bottom of wild card race.
We'll look through here and see what we have before.
Yeah, Buffalo in their last 10, 3-5-2.
Yeah, so it's been brutal. Again, they've been wildly inconsistent.
Yeah, they're currently beating the Red Wings 5-4.
Oh my God, the Red Wings scored more than 2 goals in a season. Wow.
I know.
Calgary Flames. This will be an interesting one. They are 15th in the league standings right now.
I'm gonna have you take the wheel on this one.
I'm thinking probably, at least as of right now, wild card race.
That's fair. Like right now, we look at them standings right now. As of today, they're a point behind the Avalanche for the last wild card spot.
Yeah, so they're battling there with those teams. So I think they should be at least in the middle range.
Yeah, I feel that's fair because last time I think we almost had Calgary in this spot, but we kind of regressed last minute.
Yeah, Carolina Hurricanes.
I think they're a playoff lock.
Not contender, really.
I don't think they're a contender. I feel like, first of all, look at the Metro. The Metro is just insanity right now.
True.
I'm ready to say they're a contender because I think Tkachuk just came back, so we need to see what happens there. I think they're a lock for sure. I can't. We'll see. I think for now, playoff lock. If you want to argue cup contender, we can argue that right now.
We'll get. Let me get through the teams here first before I start going to war. Again, Carolina has looked great. Marty Natchez has been most notably like one of their best players. Chicago is James Hagan's.
Yeah, I don't think you can. Like, they're last in the league right now, so
tied for last in the league. I think they just beat the Rangers actually.
They did. So yeah, they did beat the Rangers.
Oh my God, that's unreal. Tied for last.
You know what? not gonna lie, I do like it when the Rangers lose because they're the last wild card spot, and we chasing them. All right, let's go. Let's go.
You are chasing them. Colorado Avalanche.
Playoffs likely
At least as of I'm putting them. No, I'll put them here.
behind Boston. Like I feel like now that they've got Blackwood, I feel like it's changed from wild card race up to playoffs likely.
I need to see where they are in the next 5 or 7 games.
Yeah, but as of right now, look at the Avs last 10 games, 6-4,
Yeah, they've been
hovering around 500.
Yeah, so honestly, Columbus Blue Jackets, they have fallen. No, they've kind of fallen back down there. They're only 500.
I'm not gonna lie, they're wild card race for me.
Really?
They are 2 points out.
Okay, all right.
Last 10 games, 6-3-1.
So let me ask you this: Buffalo is only 4 points out. Why are you putting Columbus in wild card and not Buffalo?
I feel like Columbus. I feel like Columbus. I believe more in the coaching in Columbus than I do in Buffalo.
Okay. Dallas Stars.
Would you say playoff locks or playoffs likely?
I'm going playoff lock. It's
Okay.
Dallas. I'm putting them in playoff lock, at least as of right now. For me, again, I've seen some inconsistencies in their game. Like their blue line is not great. Missing Tyler Seguin is definitely going to hurt this roster. But apart from that, I think everything else is fine. They should be a lock to make the playoffs. I would argue, right?
Yeah, I would say right now they're actually only 2 points above Colorado. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true. But again,
yeah, 6-4 in their last
you look
10.
at the series as a whole, there's no team running away with anything.
There's no team running away, so I think they'll make playoffs. Yeah, I think playoff log is fine.
Detroit Red Wings. They are about to lose to Buffalo. 24 points.
Do you want to put them in playoffs and likely, or do you want to put them in wild card race?
I'm putting them in playoffs and likely.
Yeah, I'm not really going to be the one to judge.
This team freaking sucks. I'm being completely honest with you right now, and I say this because I'm going to the Flyers game, and they're probably going to they're going to lose to the Red Wings.
Yeah,
they can't score. They're lucky. The only reason why they have 10 wins is because they have goaltending.
But they're both injured.
If they have goaltending like they did last year, I swear to God, this team is probably Nashville territory.
Yeah,
to be honest with you.
Like I don't. I'm always being told, I'm a Wings hater, but I want to say I don't hate the Wings. They're just not a good team. Like I don't.
They're terrible 5v5. Their PK's on pace to be one of the worst in history. They have the second least amount of shots of any team.
Pretty sure they have one of the best power plays though.
They do. That's the only positive. Besides goaltending.
Yeah.
That's it.
Defensively, not great. 5-on-5, not great. Scoring, not great. They scored 4 tonight, but yeah. I like they're dead last in the East right now.
Second to last in the East. If Montreal wins tonight, they will be dead last in the East.
Yeah, and I think Montreal is winning last. Oh no, it's tied.
They're tied. They're tied with Anaheim. Edmonton. 15-10-2, 32 points, 13th. What do you think? I'm thinking probably the top 2 columns.
Playoff lock.
Okay.
You could argue likely, but
no, I'm going lock.
End of the day, it's Edmonton. Like I don't want to make it.
They even started off slow, and I don't even think we talked about them because we're not worried. Like I'm
not worried. I'm not worried.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna be fine there. Florida, I think still I think they're a cup contender.
Cup contender.
Yeah, I think that should go without saying. Again, we talked about them earlier. Their team is playing really well. Everybody on this team needs to be connecting right now.
So recently, 5-4-1 last 10. I'm still not concerned though. I think they're still the cream of the crop. So
yeah, every team goes through rough stretches.
Yeah.
Again, I think they lost 5 in a row in November, and nobody talked about it.
Like no one.
Then they started winning, so I'm not worried.
But if Ottawa loses 5 in a row, the sky is falling.
Well, yeah, because Ottawa is.
Because the sky is falling.
Ottawa hasn't made the playoffs in how long? And
Anyway,
Florida won the cup.
Anyway.
I don't want to
Anyway,
hear that argument. LA,
Anyway.
Los Angeles Kings.
Playoffs.
They're only 1 point behind Florida.
Honestly, I go playoff lock.
Yeah, I think they're a lock. It's pretty wild how we're seeing LA play this well. Like,
I'm not.
I really like.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I think like I shit on them coming into the year.
We beat down on LA. No, I was doubtful too.
Yeah.
But I plan on making a video soon on the channel talking about just how good this team. They have proved like so many people wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is though. Like I don't really know like why they're winning this much. Like their numbers are kind of average. Like they're just really winning like off of Kopitar still.
Yeah.
Like it's really what it's been. Minnesota Wild, I think you got to put them in cup contender.
I was gonna say cup contender. I was gonna debate with you whether they're a lock or a contender because
they got to be right now. They have to be. Like you have to put those teams that are towards the top in
offense clicking, defensively very sound. Gustafson's playing like the goalie I always wanted to be. Right. Ugh.
Yep. Yeah. So Minnesota and cup contenders, that should be pretty obvious. Montreal,
Hagens. Like they're more competitive, but James Hagens.
Yeah, they're Hagens. Yeah, they're still not what we want them to be. Nashville. What the hell is happening?
Nashville is dead last in the league. Like with no, not with Chicago anymore because they won, but
they're tied with Chicago.
Okay.
Now.
Do you think honestly they're gonna come back to at least some sort of relevancy?
I think we have to leave it open for possibility. I'm putting them in. I'm
playoffs unlikely. Yeah,
for now.
I think that's fair.
Because they haven't torn anything down. They traded Tomasino.
Yeah,
and Wedgwood. Like that's not like tearing it down.
Like this team is too good to be last in the league.
I don't know what it is. Like it's like something's gonna happen. Like we're gonna get to Christmas and either someone's gonna get fired or somebody big's gonna get traded.
Yeah, and like if you win the offseason, you lose. This is how this goes.
Seems like that's what it is.
Like next offseason when someone wins the offseason, I'm like, no, missing playoffs. No.
Yeah. It seems like nothing can go right for Nashville right now. There's like almost no positives. None. Zero. So, again, we'll see where that goes, but Nashville is in playoffs unlikely for me. New Jersey, they are 5th in the league.
Playoff lock. At the very top. At the very top, playoff lock.
Top of playoff lock, yeah. I'll agree with that.
I think they're a little more inconsistent. I find that they've been playing inconsistent as of lately, but they're like on like a fringe contender, but they're at the very top of playoff lock.
They better make playoffs this year. They better not fumble it.
It would be a very big Islanders. Put them in the race.
They are 11-11-7, 29 points. Yeah, I'll put them in the race. I guess. They literally have like their stats like compared to the Red Wings. It's like the 2019-20 Red Wings.
It is the Islanders Islandering it up with 7 overtime losses.
Yeah, as per you, I mean that's how it is all the time with the Islanders. Let me find this stat real quick between the Islanders and the Wings if I can.
Like the Islanders are at NHL 500. Realistically, they are 11-18.
So the Islanders have the worst power play and the worst penalty kill in the NHL. So I guess with what I said about Detroit, it's not true anymore.
Yeah,
they have an 11.5% power play and a 65% penalty kill. They're last in both categories. And the Red Wings in 2019-20, the year they tanked, they had 12 wins. Again, it was a shortened season. They only had 2 more wins than the Islanders do right now. They were 14.5% on the power play and 73.2% on the PK. Last in both categories as well.
Do you remember the last time a team had the worst power play and the worst penalty kill?
The Red Wings?
It was the 2015 Buffalo Sabres when they tanked for McDavid.
Wait, then how come the Red Wings had it last in 2019-20 though?
Oh, did they?
Oh, wait, no, never mind. I'm looking at this wrong. Okay, I'm looking at this wrong. Never mind.
Yeah, so right. That's how, like, here's the thing. The Islanders are a losing streak away from being bad. Like, I don't know how to put it nicely.
They have called out, like, Patrick Waugh has called out
Lou.
Lamoriello about what has happened. That's something we really haven't talked about, but it really is something we should be discussing because it seems like something might come from that. Like he has called out Lamoriello and said that this roster is not built to contend, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting that your coach is saying, yeah, we're not built for this.
New York Rangers,
I
14, 12, and 1.
I have put them in the race.
Ooh, I'm putting them at the top.
Yeah, put them in the race. Like I have no faith right now in this Rangers team. They're on the fringe of collapse. They're 2-8 their last 10 games.
They're still losing. They're still losing games.
Like Trouba, maybe Trouba wasn't the problem.
Maybe Trouba. Oh my god. Maybe Trouba's the scapegoat in this situation. It seems like.
So who's like? Here's the thing: the Rangers are the Leafs of the United States. Who's going to be the new scapegoat?
What do we do? What do they do? Do they fire Laviolette?
Like he's probably the next scapegoat.
Probably.
Because
I would think.
Who else are you going to fire?
This is the second season though as the Rangers coach.
Like I think if they keep going down this hill, either two things happen: Laviolette either gets fired, or we're going to see some big trade.
We did hear about Zibanejad, Kreider being names that could get moved too.
I don't know. Like, I think the Rangers, like, without their captain and a guy who, like, Trouba was very loved in that room. He wasn't a hated guy in the room.
Yeah. So I really don't know.
Like, the Rangers, I'll be like, they're lucky they have Igor. If they don't have Igor, this could get ugly very fast.
Yes. 100%. Ottawa Senators.
I am going to put them right now at the top of playoffs unlikely.
I thought you were going to go wild card race and piss off these two teams.
No, I feel like the three teams the Atlantic Three Musketeers down there.
They're basically like
they're all locked in the same. They're all in the same boat, really. Like, not good enough, bad goaltending, or good goal. Either bad goaltending, good score but bad goaltending, can't score but good goaltending. So they're all in the same boat.
Seems like it's going to be another year of the same three teams.
See, and then the offseason we're going to hear, oh, they're making playoffs.
Yep, again.
Yeah, again. Yeah.
Philadelphia Flyers. I'll take the lead here. I'm putting them here. I'll put them here. No, I'll put them.
I feel like they'll be at the end of the race, though.
No, yeah, you're right. I'm being too unbiased.
Like, I feel like at the very end of the column, like.
Pisses me off, though. Like, can you guys start losing more? Like, why are we trying to... Like, I was so happy about maybe getting James Higgins and getting that top pick, and then suddenly we went on like an 8-2 record.
Now that dream's dead.
Yeah. Well, it's not dead. They could still lose like 20 games in a row.
True, but like,
yeah.
Philly, like, I think Philly, like, they're playing decent. I'm pretty sure their last couple, they're 4-4-2. So, like, they're about like 500 hockey. So.
They lost their last 3 games, though. If they lose on Thursday while I'm there, there's going to be a TikTok going on. Yeah. It's not going to be a TikTok. Pittsburgh started to win games.
They're starting to catch up, but I still think they're playoffs unlikely.
They're right there with Philly, though. That's the thing.
You put them at the top of the column.
Okay. All right. I'll get behind that.
Because realistically, like, all those East teams are technically in the race, but, like,
all of these wins that they have had, they have been like overtime. Like the one game against Florida, they should have lost that game. The game against Toronto, it looked bad because it was 5-2, but the Penguins had 2 empty net goals.
Yeah.
So it was like Penguins dominance. Like it really wasn't. Like
I
don't really think that.
I'll tell you this right now because we're just recording this, but the Red Wings tied it.
Ooh, okay.
It's an overtime, so.
Oh boy. All right. Does that change anything?
No, it doesn't change shit. So.
All right. San Jose.
Wait,
San Jose's
going. You know what it is. Like, you know what it is.
They look good. Like they look fun. They're still not good, but they look.
They're fun to watch. Like I love watching Celebrini. I love watching Eklund.
Yeah, just a really talented team.
Yeah.
Seattle.
I think Seattle's in the race.
The most inconsistent team to ever play.
Shane Wright's cooking, though.
He is cooking, but Shane Wright is just so, or not Shane Wright. The team is just so inconsistent. Like they'll win a bunch of games in a row, and then they'll just lose a bunch of games in a row. Like it's the same thing.
They're literally 5-5 their last 10 games. Like that's
Yeah,
the
it's like
definition of inconsistency.
they are like the most consistently inconsistent team in the NHL,
Mhm.
behind, in front of Philly. Like I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. So we'll see where that goes. St. Louis under Montgomery, there's been a pretty big boost. They're
Yeah,
500.
they're 500 under Montgomery.
I'm putting them here.
You put them in the race.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. We'll
They're
put 'em-
with Philly and like they're right in there with Philly and New York and Pittsburgh,
Mhm.
or not Pittsburgh, the Islanders. Like they're right in there with all of them.
Mm.
Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, I think we just did a bunch of like unlikely and wild card race play. Tampa's probably likely.
Tampa's likely. Yeah,
They're towards the bottom.
Tampa's better than people think. Like
They are. They are. They've played less games than everyone above them, though. That's the other thing. Like they haven't played. They have games in hand. That's why they look lower in the standings than they really are.
yeah.
Toronto. Toronto.
I think Toronto is cup contenders.
Are you kidding me right now?
I'm not kidding you. I think they're playing outstanding right now. They're getting good goaltending from both their goaltenders. They're 7-3 their last 10.
People are not going to believe that you did that.
I know, but you gotta get respect. Respect is due. They were playing great without Matthews too.
Matthews is back now.
Yes.
Are you sure? Because like you're going to put the Devils in playoff lock, the Hurricanes.
You know what? You know what? I hear what you're saying. Let's put Toronto.
You're putting every team that is above them in the standings below them in the standings.
Toronto's second in the East. No, they're not. Sorry.
But they're
Put Toronto back down to playoff blocks. I misread the stuff.
I was gonna say. I'm like, Jesus, dude. Like, I don't really know.
Yeah. Put them below Dallas, but above Edmonton.
Okay. All right. Utah. I put it in here. I'm ganging them together.
That's
I'm
fine.
putting my two favorite teams together. They're both right there. They're both inconsistent as hell. I don't think Utah makes the playoffs, but they're in the race. So there you go. You can sit here and yell at me all you want, but that's what I'm rolling with.
You know what? Fair.
Yeah. Vancouver
is. I think they're likely.
Likely.
Well, Demko's back now.
Yeah, I'll put them at the top of likely.
Yeah, that's fair.
Vegas, I'm going
cup contenders.
I think I'm putting all these teams in cup contenders.
Yeah. Vegas. Look, Washington, Vegas, and Winnipeg. I feel Winnipeg's falling on tough times though. Winnipeg is like 3-9 their last 12 games.
I get that, but we knew that was going to happen at some point.
Yeah. So I think this is great. I feel like I don't want to be the homer and say I think Ottawa should be in the race, but I can't.
Here we go.
I'm gonna stick to my guns and put playoffs unlikely at the very top.
Okay. All right. Hang on. So let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so 7 teams in this part for the East. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams in the West.
So who do you want to put up to playoffs?
Well, I mean, we don't have to.
We don't have to.
We
Yeah.
don't have to put any team up there. I'm just saying that's what we have.
Yeah.
I mean, I think these are probably the 8 teams that make it in the West. The 7 teams in the East, it's really an argument right now. Like, I think that there's one team, like the Rangers might be the odd one out. We'll see though.
Yeah. I think I'm good with this.
Okay, let me read off it. The final tier list for November, we have Florida, Minnesota, Vegas, Washington, and Winnipeg in cup contenders. Playoff locks, the Devils, the Hurricanes, the Stars, the Maple Leafs, the Oilers, and the Kings. Playoffs likely, Canucks, Bruins, Avalanche, and Lightning. Wild card race, Rangers, Flames, Blue Jackets, Blues, Islanders, Kraken, Hockey Club, Flyers. Playoffs unlikely. Ottawa, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, Detroit, Nashville, and then James Hagan sees in the bottom tier San Jose, Anaheim, Montreal, and Chicago. That's what we're rolling with.
Yeah. Do you think we should put one team down in James Hagan season? Because I think the bottom 5.
The only team we could really put down there is Nashville.
Or Detroit.
I wouldn't.
No, we'll keep it as it is. It's fine. Okay, we'll keep it as it is.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. That's your bottom 4, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you have. I'm fine with that. Okay. That will conclude this episode of the NORD and Block podcast. A good hour and 10 minutes there. Let me just check and see if anything's happened. But LeBlanc, any final thoughts?
The season's, this has probably been the busiest week for stuff happening in the league. We've seen since the off season. It's been a rush. It's been a rush, and I feel like there's more to come, and I'm kind of excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I'm a little. This has been the busiest week in December I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm really excited to see what happens with the Rangers going forward and with the Predators going forward.
Yeah. So I do want to say one final thought. My girlfriend just texted me while we're recording this podcast. She said, quote, "Can you talk about how the Red Wings are effing cocksuckers and need to be deleted from the NHL?"
Actually, Tim texted me. I'm going to be on next week for sure. I got a lot of things to say. Crash out live on the NORD Block pod.
Yeah, so prepare for that. We're going to bring on a Red Wings fan to talk to us about how this team... The Red Wings won, though. Oh, wait, no, never mind. I'm looking at... They're up in the shootout. Never mind.
They won.
Oh, they did? Yeah, they did win. So why are we complaining? All right. Still, though, you should have won that game. Right? You came back. I don't understand. All right, anyways. That'll do it for this episode of the NORD and Block podcast. Thank you guys for watching or listening. If you're watching, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening, please follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you want to follow the NORD Block Pod Instagram, at NORD Block Pod. If you want to follow the NORD Block Pod Twitter, at NORD Block Pod. I am NORD. That's Block. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Ciao.
There we go.
Ciao! I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Man, I just do what I do. To know about you, I just do what I do. Check. That's the intro. See that? Yeah. I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Yo, check. Let me flip this script. I feel privileged for all who can witness this. I am close to divine. Know the moment is mine, need no omen or sign. Providing a back sound to all the squares that ask around. Be getting it. My skills pay me. Trying to get a million, baby, with an adopted flow that God gave me. Tell whoever runners that they spot is temporary till I take it, it's mine. I'm selfish. Your will. Tell Miss I'm on my wealth tip. So when we cash out soon, I'm just investing. Hey, no yes men. I've been a legend since before mom and dad had me and was best friends. I chew through comp, don't test them. I chew on tracks, cause after that I bless them. I just do what I do. You see me? I just do what I do. I just do what I do. I don't know about you. I just do what I do. Check. I just do what I do. See me? I just do what I do. Feel me? I just do what I do.